Hello everyone, I am at work while you're watching this. I hope you are enjoying the scrap party this month. I know it's jam-packed with lots of fun things. I am going to show you a layering technique. So it's going to be a 3 or 4 part series. So every month I'm going to show you a different layering technique, a little bit more in depth. And this month it's going to be using Ephemera. So an Ephemera pack that you get that gigantic pack of goodies, and there's some stuff that you're just like, what am I going to do with this? Like, the words don't work for me or anything like that. I'm just going to show you how you can do that and create something kind of like this. You can do it your own way, of course, but it's just going to be a little more in depth on how I go ahead and do my layering. And that is going to be your challenge for the month, is to create a layered layout using your Ephemera. So what's going to happen is I'm going to go into a voiceover showing you while I was putting this together in real time of me doing it. And so I hope you enjoy that. Obviously, because this is a recording, I can't answer your questions while I'm doing it, but ask questions, leave comments, anything in the comments below, and Christina and everyone else will try to answer them while they can. And then when I'm off work this evening, I will get on and I will try to answer any questions you have. And I cannot wait to see what everyone creates. So I know layering can be a little tricky and a little intimidating. So I hope that by breaking it down like this, it will help get you a little out of your comfort zone, or maybe more comfortable with layering. So with that, I will get into my voiceover. Thanks everyone. Okay, so layering, guys. I am going to show you, so I'm using one photo, and the way I am going to go ahead and work with this is grabbing different sizes within your ephemera. So this Good Vibes collection is awesome because it has really, really large pieces along with a few smaller pieces, some skinnier pieces lengthwise. There's a couple tags in there. There's different elements like the floral and the other pieces. And then there's some nice normal medium-sized tags. So I'm just showing you that I've split up the sizes. I like to have a multitude of sizes. It just helps kind of give me different ways to go about when I decide to layer. And I love personally to do corner layering, which means that pink piece that you see, that very first piece I laid down, is only covering 2 sides of my photo. I'm a big fan of that. I do that in my layering all the time. And I used the middle size, so a medium-sized piece of ephemera, so that I can then back it with that larger piece that kind of overtakes the whole photo and helps with just those two. So if you were more of a person that only wanted to do a very, very small amount of layering, you could just use those 2 pieces and it would be able to encompass the entire photo, and you could place it down on your pattern paper and be done. So that is how I go about layering when I'm starting. I normally always use a corner piece like that. Now, I'm also, because I do this a lot, I tend to preserve the pieces that don't show. So you can see that I cut it so that down the road, I can either use it again within this set of layering, or I can use it for another project on another day. Now, I also wanted to have a little bit of festive fun with this layout, and so I brought in the frame, which again, I used to make sure that it doesn't do the whole thing. I didn't place it right on top of my photo to use that as a normal frame. Instead, I'm using it just to be tucked in with the first 2 layers. And I'll go ahead and do the same thing and trim that frame as well, so I have a little piece to use on another day. I now have a lot of pink going on, or a lot of one color. It's pretty monochromatic, and I personally didn't want that. So this is why you see me adding this little piece of green, and I'm literally going to just take the little side piece, so that little strip of green there, and tuck that in by my photo on the right hand side there, and I will trim that. So then again, I now have 3 more sides to use and be able to document it on another layout for something. I was showing you there, however, I did think about doing another half corner with it, but when I had it up there, the two pieces, so the teal color and that pink color, wouldn't have gone together. They didn't meet up. So there was a funny little spot right there that would have needed to be covered up. So I didn't like that. So I went ahead and tucked it under. And when I did that, I'm showing you here, I then made really funny little edges. And if you could have left it like that if you don't mind funny edges, but my way of being able to cover that up is adding one of those smaller pieces, and especially because this is a circular piece, so it adds another texture almost to it, and brings your eye to different places because now there's different shapes involved, and that helped cover up any of the funny edges that were going on at the bottom down there. The tag then gets added because there does need to be a piece at that top there so that there is another layer. And again, I'm trying to make sure that all of my little funny corners are all covered up and it all looks even, and there's nothing kind of obviously silly sticking out. So that's why the tag goes there. And again, another pop of teal. So I then had 2 pops of teal, and to do a visual triangle, which is something I also try to do, I brought in that hashtag love this down to the bottom so that there is a literal visual triangle of teal going on. The yellow thing just then got tucked in underneath for just a little pop of something. And the pink little paint stripe thing got tucked in on the other side so that it was an equal amount on either side. And then to wrap it all up, the last little bits here will be to add that little piece of floral and the bird, which adds a fun little element to it. And it also, again, covers up anything funny with the silly edges down there. So I'm showing you here, there is a bird in the ephemera pack that I was thinking about using, but when I place it there, it looks like the bird is kissing my cheek, and I wasn't wanting to go for that. So that is why I use the bird that I fussy cut out of a piece of pattern paper, and I like that. It's still going into my photo and touching my photo, but it doesn't look so silly. I do pay attention to stuff like that, so that is why that bird was chosen instead. And then I decide that there is that piece of cork, it was fake cork, but it says love yourself. And because I had cork elsewhere on my layout, again, I need to use a visual triangle there. So this nice large piece, which has cork around it, I'm not going to use the whole piece, but that little bit that you can see there, when I tuck it in under all of my layers at the bottom, there is just this little pop of that color. So you have multiple visual triangles going on. And that's a big thing when it comes to layering, when you're trying to take into the back of your mind, incorporating your entire layout into your layering. You want to make sure your visual triangle isn't just within your layering, but within your whole layout. And that's what I was trying to show you there with the cork. And then my final little pieces here is I had a frame, and I'm okay with just using one frame. That's not a big deal. But the idea of needing just another pop of color, because it is very heavily pink. You can see there's a lot of pink going on, and it's a little off balance almost. And so bringing in this teal frame, it's really nice, and you're only going to see like the pom part of it, and so it's just going to be kind of a grounding and an anchoring place for all of the layers to go, and the final just kind of piece to tie everything in together. It also ends up having a bit of a lift to it because this frame has a bit of dimension to it, so that I can then go in and pop a few other things up with fun foam, which is another great way to be able to show off your layers. Is like, for example, I'm going to put fun foam on the bird. I'm going to put fun foam on the little piece that says love yourself, and I'm going to put a little bit on that pink layer because it's sticking up within that frame. So doing stuff like that also helps to really emphasize on all of your layers. So if you have fun foam, definitely make sure you use that when you're doing your layering. It will help make it just a little bit more noticeable that you've got all these different layers and pieces going in underneath your photo. And then just because I personally wanted to get this little cacti put in my layout, I'm going to cut it in half and just layer it on either side. Again, it's kind of like with that yellow and the pink stripe. It's just, I did something to one side, so I want to do it to the other, and it just kind of helps make it a big, large, nice piece. And that is how I do my layering. So I hope you enjoyed this. Okay, so that might have been a lot of information thrown at you and maybe not the most clearest example, but I hope you get my points. So I've got pieces coming out of different places, but as a whole, it's quite a square piece with visual triangles going on with the cork and the teal and the pink as well. And then you can also, like I said, you go outside of your layers and onto your layout. So like there's pink here and there's pink here and there's pink within my banner. So you have a visual triangle going that way. And the same thing with my teal, right? There's teal within that fun little frame that I use, the two little pieces that I used within my layering pieces, and then I used a teal bird. You've got a visual triangle going on there, and then of course the cork. So I hope you will take on this fun challenge and pull out a ephemera pack, get those pieces that you're like, I don't know how I'm ever going to get these used, tuck them in there. It's okay to cover it all up and just use a little bit of it for a color instead of what it says or what it actually is. It's okay to use your ephemera like that. You're at least getting it used up and getting it on your layout. I'm very excited to see what you create, and I will be back tomorrow. Hopefully I'll be a little more interactive. I do have the day off, so we'll see what happens there. Thanks everyone, and enjoy the scrap party. Bye!